Is that better? I think so. Said mute the output. Bear with me here. I did say mute the output. I guess now it's muted? I don't know. Levels look good. The levels do look good. But who fucking knows? Until I get a better setup, I won't be able to do this with even a modicum, even a measure of so-called professionalism. I just wanted to touch on some of this bullshit. Of course, I got plenty of my own bullshit that I want to get into. And I was just gonna wait until tomorrow and do a nice Friday night chat hangout stream. Or I was gonna do my character voices, which I've decided on a name for that. It's going to be Sixto's Plantation. My hardware should be here soon, so hopefully I'll be able to set that up right and do it on Friday nights. Maybe do that and then go into a chat hangout, or do a chat hangout if I even have my chat. And then go into that at the end of the show like I did last time. But I decided to do it tonight because I don't know. A lot of shit was fresh in my head, and I said, you know what, let's just do it tonight. And then I remembered I had this story pulled up from the other day that I wanted to comment on. Just one news story today, friends. Just one. It's not going to be hours of me babbling about various stories that get thrown my way. Not today, anyway. No. Maybe we'll do that next week. Because now that I'm streaming tonight, I definitely won't tomorrow. So, what is this story I speak of? You'd think, oh, it's got to do with Israel, because that's in the title, and you'd be correct. There's actually two of them now, but they kind of are related. So, of course, you probably know, if you follow the news, that there was a quote-unquote flotilla. Well, it's flotilla, I know. A collection of boats involving high-profile activists. I believe, was it the Italians or the Spanish that gave them a Navy ship escort? It's really coming together that, you know, the world fucking hates Israel right now. And I guess that's understandable, you know? It's not like... It's not like very many people are going to be behind them other than hardcore Zionists. And there are even some Zionists that are taking issue and taking offense and having their sensibilities offended by the current state of affairs in Gaza, by the actions that Benjamin Netanyahu and co., the IDF, probably Shin Bet is doing a little bit of torturing. Wouldn't put it past Shin Bet. They are probably the most demonic of official government organizations on the whole planet. I was just gonna say in that region, but no, they're probably right up there with the CIA. Detains activists. Israel intercepts the flotilla and detains activists, including Greta Thunberg. Ugh, that little autistic child. She's not a child anymore. You have to remember, we're all drowning in time after all. I think of Greta, I think, little 13-year-old girl that's autistically screeching about non-issues. So I'll skim through this. I'm not going to read the whole thing because the next story was the one I really wanted to comment on and kind of bring it all together before I just get into my own shit that I wanted to talk about. So, the flotilla, hundreds of activists, including Greta Thunberg, have been detained by Israeli forces because the flotilla was intercepted. They're being transferred to an Israeli port to be deported. The first boats were stopped about 70 miles off the coast of Gaza in international waters. Israel's been policing this area but doesn't have jurisdiction there. It is, when we say jurisdiction, who's there to enforce it? You say, well, the UN or the ICC, the International Criminal Court. They don't really have a method of enforcement, though. They don't have a force arm. The ICC can bring charges against someone. They already have with Netanyahu. But who's going to be there to enforce these charges? Who's going to be there to serve this so-called justice in this so-called court? When you say jurisdiction, international waters, nobody has jurisdiction there. It's a fucking free-for-all. You can take someone on a nice boating trip out into international waters and kill them, and your home country isn't going to be able to convict you of it, or they're going to have a very hard time doing so, because there's no jurisdiction. So apparently Israel told the boats to fuck off, but the boats described the GSF, I guess, is the name of the Global Samud Flotilla. They called the interceptions illegal. Well, again, illegal by whose standards? There's no law in international waters. The group is characterizing Israel as being desperate. 443 people were detained, assaulted with water cannon. I think the BBC missed an S there. Unless it was one water cannon. Israel said all those detained were safe and in good health. Yeah, I bet. I'm sure they are, though. Maybe if not all, most of them. They're at least going to keep Greta and her friends in good health, right? Because the world loves that I was going to say that little girl, woman. She's a woman now. Colombian President Gustavo Petro expelled all remaining Israeli diplomats from the country in response, denounced the interception as an international crime, terminated Colombia's free trade agreement with Israel in place since 2020, and called for the release of 2 Colombians who were aboard the flotilla. Amnesty International Secretary General said the blockade on Gaza was unlawful and that the decades-long impunity for Israel's blatant violations of international law must end. Again, international law. There really is no such thing. And don't get me wrong, I'm not siding with Israel here. I'm just looking at this realistically. I'll get into that later. Italy's Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, criticized the attempt to reach Gaza, saying, "I continue to believe that all this brings no benefit to the Palestinian people." This is true. What were these people on this flotilla expecting to happen? They're going to get there, and Israel's going to be like, "Oh, you made it, fine, come on in." Like, no. They've been saying it for, I guess, months that this has been being planned and being enacted. We're not going to let this happen. Don't do this. You're going to be intercepted. We will take whatever means necessary to stop you from entering our combat zone. Which, let's face it, Israel has force, they have guns, they have soldiers. This flotilla had none of that. It was just a bunch of, well, beatniks on a boat trying to bring certain aid packages to Gaza. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that maybe they should be allowing it. Israel should be letting more aid through. More on that later again. I see RDF in the chat here. I can't keep the chat up because it will fuck with my music. If I have another window open instead of OBS, it fucks with the music and cuts it in and out, so I have to just kind of pop it up and down really quick. What up? I'm just talking about this Israel shit, which I hope to keep short because there's other things I want to get into here. Israel's foreign ministry posted footage from the interception showing Thunberg sitting on the deck of the boat, being handed water in a jacket. Detained activists are being taken to the port of Ashdod, Israel said. Greta and her friends are safe and healthy. Well, yeah. Again, they better be. You're going to have the whole world even pissed off at you more than they are. Israel described the flotilla as provocation yachts. It was justified in stopping the vessels. One boat remained at a distance. A member of the legal team working with the flotilla said there will be a further attempt to breach Israel's blockade in the coming days. So, well, why? You know, why are they going to try again? This shit's only going to get worse. At the very least, the same thing's going to happen if you don't just piss them off more and they don't, I don't know, send a fucking missile right into your boat. Here's an interesting name. Caoimhe Butterly, spelled Caoimhe. Providing legal support and acting as an observer to the GSF. An observer. What kind of name is that? Caoimhe Butterly. I'm going to have to look that up because that's a... why am I thinking Portuguese? There's no way. There is the expectation that it will be up to 13 vessels, ships, and boats and follow a similar route to Gaza. Organized by a separate group, the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, who launched 2 previous attempts, both intercepted. Why are they still trying? You're not going to get anywhere. I get it, the world is fed up with what's going on over there, and Israel is being shitty. But, you know, sending a fucking flotilla with Greta Thunberg on it ain't gonna get the job done. You guys really want to step up and get the job done? Send some military forces. Join Hamas if you must. All these countries that are condemning Israel for doing what they're doing, it's lip service, man. You want to make a difference, join the fight. France doesn't like what's going on, send over the frogmen. The UK doesn't like it, send the SAS in. I'd say the United States, but we seem to be the only ones backing Israel for obvious reasons, so the Navy SEALs won't be much use to you. Thank you very much. People have gathered in Greece, Italy, Germany, Tunisia, and Turkey to protest the interception. Well, protest. What's that gonna do? A bunch of hippies waving signs around? You're not getting shit done. Go get a job, protesters. The flotilla had been accompanied by Italian and Spanish naval vessels following alleged drone attacks and communications jamming of unclear origin. Well, unclear origin. Who do you think it was? Is there any country in that region? Is there any country in Europe? Is there any country in the world other than the United States which is backing Israel, which would intercept this flotilla with drones and communications jamming? I think not. Unclear origin. Use your fucking head. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk. I don't know how to do the umlaut. Forgive me, I'm an American. It means I'm stupid. Called for Israel to urgently lift the blockade and allow the entry of life-saving material through all means possible. It must agree to facilitate impartial humanitarian relief schemes without hindrance. It must. Well, you want them to. It doesn't mean they're going to. Again, this all comes down to force. Netanyahu has made his objective clear. He's made it clear since the very beginning, 2 years ago. We're coming up on 2 years. Are we coming up on 3 years? I believe it's 2 years. So, protests at colleges in the United States, protests in Italy, protests in Turkey, Greece, Germany, Tunisia, Pakistan, Bolivia, and Malaysia are going to do jack fuck. Fuck all. Bullshit. They're doing nothing to stop what's going on. I've said it, and I'll say it again, for the sake of clarity. You want to stop Israel from destroying the so-called state of Palestine, which didn't really exist up until a few weeks ago when I guess the whole world decided they were going to recognize it? You need to use force. Force is king. Force is king. Nothing else matters. The UK Foreign Office said it had been in contact with the families of British nationals aboard the boats. I mean, there were a lot of boats, more than 40 ships and around 500 people. So there's Colombians on it, there's a Swede on it, at least one Swede, probably a few others, because I'm sure Greta brought her friends. British nationals? Where did all these people just, what, did they all fly to one location? Alright, we're gonna get on these boats. What does Colombia give a shit? It's just like the whole damn world's coming together, but in the wrong way. Yeah, let's protest the protest. Tell the protesters, go get a fucking job. Stop being degenerates and standing around in the streets yelling. You really wanna help? Take that time of protesting, go to work, and then donate the money to funds that are helping Gaza. That would literally do more than protesting. But I digress. I mean, clearly I'm in the wrong because people have been protesting for, what, hundreds of years about things? Never seems to go away, even though all logic tells you, hey, there's action. Protests are words. How many people protested during January 6th? That didn't get anything done. It actually made it worse. Now, if they had went in with action and, brought guns, and, I mean, it definitely would have made it way worse. Maybe not the best example to use. Oh, Lord. So, yeah, the UK Foreign Office had been in contact with the families of the British nationals aboard the boats and Israeli authorities to make clear we expect the situation to be resolved safely. Is that like saying you better bring us our people back or we're sending in the SAS? That's what it should be. You give us our fucking citizens back. You give us the British nationals back right away. Or MI6 is coming after you. We're gonna send James Bond in there, motherfucker. Irish Deputy Prime Minister Simon Harris called the reports concerning. Says he expects Israel to uphold international law. Again, no such thing as international law. It's just a concept without any meat behind it, no force. With at least 7 Irish citizens among the detained, including Sinn Féin Senator, I'm guessing that's a region, Chris Andrews. Flotilla left Spain a month ago. 40 ships, 500 people, including European parliamentarians, lawyers, activists, with the stated intention of taking aid directly into Gaza. I mean, dude, wouldn't just airdropping the shit be more effective? You got parliamentarians, you got government people going on a boat instead of authorizing the military to do humanitarian aid missions. What fucking sense does that make? It doesn't. This is retarded. While the Israeli government has characterized the flotilla as a selfie yacht, I think that's actually a fitting description. Greta Thunberg has pushed back against that criticism, telling the BBC on Sunday, "I don't think anyone would risk their life for a publicity stunt." Oh, darling. Look, Greta, you... God bless her little soul. Publicity stunt? Greta, if this wasn't a publicity stunt for you, no one would have known you were on that boat. You would have dyed your fucking hair, wore a COVID mask, whatever you had to do to make sure no one knew you were there. This is like, if you pray in public versus what you do in your prayer closet type of deal. You're doing this for publicity because your name is in international news, darling. Don't you get it? It is a publicity stunt for you and all these other people, European parliamentarians, the activists, because you knew from the start you weren't getting through. You knew Israel was going to intercept you. You did this all for the clout. That's fucking obvious. That's obvious, man. International aid agencies have been attempting to get food and medicine into the Palestinian territory, but say Israel is restricting the flow of supplies. Yes, they are. I'm sure they are. You've heard the rhetoric that Netanyahu, you hear his intentions. Of course he is. They claim it's to attempting to stop the supplies falling into the hands of Hamas. Israel and the U.S. have backed an alternative distribution system, the GHF, Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which the UN has branded unethical and inherently safe. No, okay, I mean, I don't trust Israel. I don't trust Hamas. Hamas is the enemy of the United States. They're Islamists. They are hardcore Sunni Muslims. If they had the numbers and the ability, they would wipe the United States out as well as Israel. Israel's not our ally either. Some people know that. Some people are privy. Most are not. But I don't trust the U.S. government, but I sure as fuck don't trust the UN. I don't trust any of the parties involved here. So it's just back and forth here. The IPC, a UN-backed group considered an impartial expert body, confirmed last month there was a famine. The UN's humanitarian chief said it's a direct result of Israel's systematic obstruction of aid. Netanyahu has called this an outright lie. Of course he has. Just the usual back and forth bullshit with these fuckers. I mean, what can I say other than, Israel isn't just killing Hamas terrorists. It's obvious they've been killing civilians, which I guess in Netanyahu's eyes is, tit for tat. October 7th, you killed a hell of a lot of civilians and teenagers and raped women and apparently, cut their nipples off and all sorts of weird fucked up shit. Apparently. Who really knows, right? But how far is too far? I don't agree with what Israel's doing. If I put myself in Netanyahu's place, however, can I say I wouldn't do the same thing? With certainty? No, I can't. I can't. I can understand where he's coming from, and I could easily see myself doing that given the right circumstance. And I think anybody listening to this, anybody in the world, could see themselves doing that given the right circumstance. Now, this next one, however, which I would like to, again, keep relatively short, because we're already 26 minutes in. I can't call him a kid. He's 19 years old. They don't give a full name, but they do name him Abdullah, a Palestinian. Was killed while trying to go to if I can find it in this article here, the Gaza humanitarian, whatever, the GHF that I just mentioned, have sites set up for Palestinians to go and receive food and other aid. So, according to this, because the article is just all over the fucking place, alright, so there's an aid site. And the IDF guards the aid site, as well as GHF's own security contractors, private military or the like. And this kid Abdullah, and there were others who were there, I'm guessing others that were killed too, was approaching the aid site using the route that the IDF told him to use. I don't like this article. It's very, very hard to get to the information I want. Too fucking wordy. And too all over the place. So it's talking about his dad. Let's get the emotions up. Okay. Abdullah's neighbor, named Moaz, a friend since childhood, went together to GHF Site 4, the only one in the center of Gaza, following the instructions of IDF soldiers about the correct route to take. To get ahead in the deadly race for food, many Palestinians arrive at these sites before dawn. Moaz and Abdullah were waiting near a ruined house less than 500 meters from the site. Abdullah said he had to deal with a call of nature and moved about 30 meters away. Taking a piss? That's when he was shot dead. Moaz said he ran through heavy fire to get to his friend. What a badass. And he survived, too. That kid's going places. And by that, I mean he's probably going to join Hamas now. He lived around 10 more minutes. We asked the IDF specifically about the death of Abdullah. It did not respond, but told us it does not deliberately fire at innocent civilians. Well, then your guys may need their eyes checked, because a 19-year-old unarmed kid taking a piss, approaching an aid site for civilians, probably isn't a terrorist. They say GHF's lawyers say it's security contractors. It's private security, whatever, does not open fire either. They say they are not aware of any credibly documented instance of their ever doing so, and that no one has been shot dead at a GHF site or within sight of one. Well, that just changed, didn't it? That just fucking changed. So, again, I'm not for Israel. I'm not for Hamas. I don't have a dog in that fight. As far as I'm concerned, they're both enemies of America. And I don't even care about them being enemies of America. They're just, it's not my people. As far as I'm concerned, they should stop the war. It's a pointless war. What Hamas did on October 7th was completely pointless. Israel's response, while justified, is a bit extreme, but also fucking pointless. The only way this is going to end is when one side wipes the other out. This has been going on for 80 years. It's been going on hundreds of years even before that. Maybe even thousands. It's fucking pointless. So as far as I'm concerned, one will wipe the other out, and it'll be peace in the region. I guess it would only be peace if Hamas wins, because if Israel wins and takes over the entirety of Palestine, let alone just Gaza City, they're still going to have Iran, they're still going to have Saudi Arabia, they're still going to have Egypt, they're still going to have all these motherfuckers to deal with. It's done. It's a losing battle, man. And it's fucking pointless. But what they've been doing, the way they're going about it, it's despicable. I mean, withholding food and other aid to civilians who, while they may back Hamas, of course they do, they want to get the IDF out of their fucking land, out of their city. They want to go about their lives like any other fucking civilian, and they could care less about the political strife and the war going on. And I'm sure that Netanyahu is lying through his fucking teeth every time he says something about, we're not doing that, we're not withholding aid, oh, we didn't kill those children. Yeah, you did. Yeah, Hamas killed kids, but you're doing it too. You're no better. It's just like a certain grifter that happens to be on YouTube says, two devils fighting. That's all this is. And it fucking disgusts me. And you know what? If they just nuked each other to hell. If the entire Levant just got carpet bombed, I would say that sucks for the civilians, but hey, the conflict's over. Oh well. I just try to go about my life. Small hats and goat lovers. That's what the whole world is up in arms about. Most people are siding with the goat lovers. Sorry, goat fuckers. I'll just come out and say it. You don't have to. The men who stare at goats. Those tight little goat asses and think, oh, what I would do to get my... Oh, that's Indian. No. I don't have a very good Muslim. I need to work on accent, maybe. But you know, at least with like the Russia and Ukraine situation, it's like, these are two countries that, to any outside observer, you'd say they have the same language, although they don't. I'm no linguist, but I would say that Ukrainian and Russian are to like Spanish and Portuguese. There are enough differences to separate the two, but they use the same fucking alphabet. A lot of the words are the same. Their culture is very similar, if not pretty much the same. The only differences are built up like regionally. Like you could say, oh, the culture in New York City is going to be different from the culture in New Mexico. But they're still Americans. Well, yeah, you could say the Ukrainians are still Russians. Slavic people. Russo, whatever. But they're going to be different from the whatever surviving Tatarians are in fucking Siberia, right? Or you go to Moscow, and then you go to some rural little bumfuck in the middle of Russia. There's going to be differences in culture. Differences in speech, even. But these are the same people, more or less, killing each other over nothing. And they're both Christian, by the way. At least with this Hamas-Israel This is an ideological war that has been going on with these people for a very long time. But the Ukrainians and Russians they're both Orthodox Christians. Killing other Orthodox Christians. Because one guy said, hey, I'm going to invade, I'm going to annex you, basically. Give me your country back. And Volodymyr said, hell no, bucko! And proceeded to stave them off, and in some cases wipe the floor with Russia, to where that war has been going on for 3 years, 4 years now almost, right? And nothing has changed. Russia can't even break all the way into the country. They've taken nothing. It's sad. It really is sad. And that's what's engulfing the world right now. I remember a few years ago when Biden was still around, it was like they were worried about China and Taiwan. You don't really hear about that anymore. I wonder why. I mean, I don't know. I don't care, really. Not my problem. You know, you got all these people all up in arms, losing their fucking minds over the dumbest shit. You got Americans going crazy in the streets, protesting and burning shit because people say Nick or because a drug addict with a criminal history, a fucking rap sheet a mile long, overdosed and apparently was also murdered by a certain knee. That's so important. Or Israel, Palestine, the Russia-Ukraine. Remember when it first started and everyone was like changing all their pictures on probably social media, but I saw it on YouTube a lot, to the Ukrainian flag. People putting Ukrainian flag bumper stickers on their cars. Everyone is so concerned. All these modern, beatnik Americans would rather be worried about non-issues and nonsense over real issues. You want to live in a system of usury and be in financial servitude to unknown parties, let's say. I'm not going to say who. You want to have your life run by credit agencies and central banks? You're okay with that? You're just fine with that, aren't you? You're never going to own a home. You're going to be renting for the rest of your life. You're never going to make it to not even wealth or being rich, but even just being okay. Just well enough for yourself and your family. Because you're too concerned with people saying Nick or with wars going on halfway across the world that you cannot stop. I know you could say, oh, well, you must be somewhat concerned about it, Sixto. You're talking about it. I talk on what's on the news, and I give my opinion on it. Doesn't mean I'm concerned with it at all. Especially when my opinion is, fuck both of them. It's international news. Well, maybe countries should stay focused on their own shit, because we have enough of our own problems. America especially. Everyone's caught up over race. They're caught up over political affiliation. They're caught up over your ideology. They're caught up over, do you believe in God or not? Christians are caught up over, do you believe Jesus is God or the Son? Oh, do you think this about the Eucharist or that? What do you think about birth baptism or Or like the Anabaptists say you have to be conscious and an adult and choose to take it. That's what everyone's concerned about. Little tiny non-issues about your faith. There are bigger issues in the world. Bigger than anything going on now that no one wants to talk about. I know Raymond11 here in my chat would love to talk about this stuff. Because he knows. But again, I digress. If I wanted to make a tinfoil hat style podcast, well, I would bring Raymond on as my co-host. Because he'd probably school me with half of that shit. I don't keep up with it. You got like... Just look at it. You got college kids. You got kids that are... Even high schoolers, probably. That are being radicalized into all this. Worrying about protesting. Worrying about, oh, Donald Trump did this. Oh, this is going on across the world. We cannot stand for it. This is a travesty. It's like, dude, you're broke. You, and I say that including myself because of my age, are living in an economic system that has been destroyed by previous generations. You know, you got these guys like Dave Ramsey, and you know, I don't like advocating violence. You know me. I don't advocate for that shit, but sometimes, and he's got good financial advice. Some stuff he says is true, but man, sometimes the way he says things, he just needs to be punched right in the fucking mouth. He needs to have his boomer teeth knocked right out. Like, you don't really mean that, Dave, do you? It's that kind of boomer or Gen X mentality, and I get it, alright? I get it. Millennials, Gen Z, whatever, there's a hell of a lot of us that are entitled. That are lazy little fucks. But, you know, these are people who grew up in a society where I like to liken it to a pole vault. Let's say the vault, the bar, is set... I don't know how high these people go. Let's just give it a number. Let's say 10 meters. Man, I guess that's pretty high. 10 meters. And they're given a pole that's like 20 meters or something to give them some leverage to get up over that. Or no, I guess it would, because they let go when the pole's almost straight up. So let's say the vault is at 20 meters and their pole is that they use to vault over is like 15. And they did it. And they got over. And then it comes down to like my generation and younger. And they put that vault up to 30 meters. And then they give you a pole that's 7.5 and say, go ahead, do what I did. And you try to do it, and you don't get as high. It's like, no, do it again. Come on, you got this. And if you dare to say, hey, wait a minute. Why don't you drop that vault back to where it was? Why don't you give me your pole, motherfucker? You're like, oh, no, you're lazy, entitled. You millennials, you Gen Z. You guys just don't know how to work hard. You gotta work hard to get what you want. It's like, excuse me? I know there's plenty of my generation and younger that are entitled bums. That don't want to work hard. That don't want to work at all. I've spoken about my neighbor. He's the epitome of that. But when you got some people who are working their asses off and are trying their best, and they can't get anywhere because the economy is in shambles, because of the likes of the boomers and the Gen Xers, who are sapping the economy, especially the boomers, you know, they're riding that sinking ship. As soon as it sinks, They can jump off and use their little life raft, their cushion, to get them back to dry land. And dry land for them is death. Meanwhile, we're all sinking on this ship. And they dare to say shit like, oh, you're lazy, you're entitled. Just do it, man. If you work hard enough, you can get everything you want. It's like, really? Because, you know, I personally, I don't want much. I definitely want a little more than I have now, but I don't want much. There's definitely people my age, there's definitely people of any age group that want to be the richest man in the world. They want to have mansions. They want to have, 20 car garages with the rarest, most exotic supercars and shit in them. Well, you know what? It's been said, mo money, mo problems. I don't want that kind of money. I just want enough for me, and I don't want much. Little house, give me a garage, give me a decent sized garage so I can set up a little kind of machine shop and other shit in it, right? Maybe fit a car or two and some dirt bikes. Give me a little bit of land to work with. And even that's becoming a near impossible dream for most Americans. No, RDF, I don't want crystals. Actually, sure, give me the crystals. They look cool. That's about it. I think crystals are, and the science behind them and how they grow and stuff, it's actually really fascinating. But that's it. They're cool to look at. I have a quartz crystal laying around my house somewhere. Just because I have it. Someone gave it to me a while ago. It's like, cool, this looks cool, and the way it naturally grows in that shape and then goes to a point. You don't usually see, like, straight lines and angles like that in nature. It's not very common. It seems like crystals, and I think pyrite does it too. Depressed? No, don't get me wrong here. How would I word it? I wouldn't say I'm depressed. I'm just, I'm kind of fed up with the way that this country, the economy, with this struggle to even barely keep myself afloat. No, I mean, I'm happy with the life that I have. Don't get me wrong. I just know I could be doing way better. And yes, I'll admit it, part of it's due to my own bad decisions. We've all made bad decisions. Some more than others. And I'm not just going to blame everything on boomers, because that's very typical of the younger generations. I will blame the economy on them. I'm not going to blame my mistakes on them. I made mistakes. And I'll probably make some more. We all do. And we will continue to. The key is to make less and less as you get older. Or at least make them a little less severe. But I did speak on this the other day. Hey, I mean, am I living in a financial servitude to things like banksters and Jews? And, you get my point. Sure, yes, I am. But most of America is. I wouldn't call it... I've had it described to me by some of my more liberal friends over the years as financial oppression. We're being oppressed. We're like slaves. Like, yeah, but... we have the freedom to go out and, we can go get beer or weed for some people, or cocaine for others. We go to work and we can come back to our little place and play our video games and watch sports, which is a big entertainment distraction, and drink our beer, and people get their porn, they can jack off. We are fed so many distractions and tranquilizers almost, to the point where we are sedated and happy living in our servitude. As you know, I'm drinking a beer right now, so I am partially that way too. I'm okay with it. I would like it to be different, but knowing that the only way it will be at this point is if the entire government collapses and is rebuilt by people who have just a modicum of common sense. Just a modicum of competency. Maybe things will come back. What do you do? No, I don't need you to tell me when Windows scans for viruses, okay? I don't get viruses. I'm too good to get viruses. I am far too good of a computer. Well, that's not true. I'm just smart. If I'm going to download something that might be a virus and I have no other option to get it, I do a system restore and make sure that I have my options open before I download it. Oh, my beer's out. Well, almost. I know there was a few other things that I had on my mind earlier at work. I was thinking, I should talk about that on the show later. But as it goes, I get home, it's gone, baby. I can tell you this, we're going to get flooded over this next week. I've been looking at the weather, and not to dox my location or anything, but it's it's thunderstorms all week, all through the night. I live in a flood zone. My backyard is prone to it. If it gets bad enough, it will make it into my house. And let's pray that it doesn't, because I don't want to. Last year, I was in a similar situation, and I decided to preemptively remove most of the valuable things from my house, expecting a flood that didn't happen. Now, my TV, which I had just bought 2 months earlier, somehow in the process of putting it in the backseat of a car, taking it to my storage unit, and then the next day when it didn't flood, going back and bringing it back, somehow the TV got damaged, and it's weird. You can see the backlight. There's these like deep scratches in the screen where no color comes through. You just see white. So it's like it ate through the... I believe this is an LED TV, so the LEDs are coming through, but I wanted to say the pixel matrix, but that's like more of a CRT thing where it's got the little red, blue, green dots. That's not on these newer TVs. So I really don't know what it is, but there goes the TV. And I still haven't got a new one. I just kind of shut up and deal with it. Well, the piano, that was a little different. The piano had to sit outside. I wanted to bring it to my storage and actually eventually get around to fixing it up, but here's the funny thing. When I picked that piano up, I went to my neighbor because he's got a truck. This man is almost 70. He's like 67, 68. Me and him managed to lift that thing into his truck by ourselves. And then he pulled up and we got it off the truck right outside my front door by ourselves. And then I moved it into my house for a couple of days before I'm like, this is ridiculous. I need to get it outside, keep it covered with a tarp, whatever. So I eventually was just like, you know what? I'm not going to fix this. I had to get rid of it. And it is gone, by the way. But I wanted to put it in my storage, right? I had my dad come over, who's in his 50s. And he brought my truck, because I was letting him use it. Still am letting him use it, since I can't drive it. And me and him were going to put it in the back of the truck. And he just, before we even got it moved over toward the fucking, toward the bed, he starts pussing out. He's like, oh my God, this thing weighs like 600 pounds. I'm like, yeah, man, come on. I moved it into a truck and out that's higher. The bed is higher up on his truck than yours, with a guy who's 20 years older than you. He's like, you're fucking crazy. Why do you keep getting shit from, where you just picked this up off the street? What are you, fucking Fred Sanford? And he was just going off. I'm like, all right, dude, you don't gotta help me. I'll leave it out here. If you're gonna be a little bitch, come on, old man, you got this. No, he did not have it. And we could have done it. I'm sure he's just as strong as my neighbor, if not a little stronger. Oh, nice. Very nice, Raymond, very nice. Well, I'll actually have you know, my mother probably weighed about maybe 120 with a brick in each pocket. As far as I know. Was that even my mom? Maybe it wasn't. She didn't really look like me. Maybe my mom was 600 pounds. Maybe, if we're going to go the Freudian way of looking at things, men are attracted to their mom. Maybe that's why I like the fat bitches, huh? Huh? Oh. Sixto's figuring shit out here. A little bit of psychoanalysis. Let me grab my other beer here. This is why I love my chat. And by that I mean just pretty much the two of you and maybe Tyrone. Where's Tyrone? What a faggot. I want you guys to both text Tyrone and say you're a faggot because you just missed Sixto's live stream. And when I say missed, I mean, yeah, it's about over here. I'm running out of things to say. Coming up on an hour. I didn't want to go this long. Dumpster fire. RDF, that's no way to describe me. I mean, it's accurate, but come on, have a little decency. I know my stream sucks. You think I do this for you people? No, I do it for me. I enjoy doing this. Even though I know most of the time no one's listening. On the off chance you guys jump in, makes it a little better, but for the most part, I'm just talking to an empty chat. Getting below 15 views per stream even after the fact. I could get 0 views. I could literally, you guys could not even be here ever. Like, I could have never met you guys. Eventually I would have still been like, you know what, I want to start doing a show. And I could look back on 6 months. 6 whole months of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, no views. Yes, talking just like N-word Steve. And I'd still keep doing it, as long as I felt like doing it. It's like I'm having a little talk show, you know? Yeah, I think it's like guys in talk radio. They don't have a chat. They're not responding to any of their viewers. If they do like call-ins, that's one thing, but a lot of the time it's just talking into a fucking mic, hoping that somebody out there is listening. If not, oh well. I clearly have nothing better to do, right? Damn. My neck has been killing me lately. My buddy at work's like, oh, why your neck hurt? Because he saw me stretching it. I'm like, yeah. He's like, why you go home and why you not have your girlfriend give you a massage, man? I'm like, what girlfriend? He's like, what happened? I'm like, dude, she left months ago. He's like, oh, you know what? You'll get a new one. I'm like, yeah, sure. Sure I will. Maybe not in this country, man. You know how hard it will be to find for any guy who has the worldview that I do, including the racism and all that, to find a half-decent girl in this generation. It's not like I'm in my 60s just looking for something to stick my dick in, right? My age, it's like, I could still start a family, whatever, do as God intended. To find a girl that is, at the very least, accepting of my worldview, if not, preferably, I'd want one that agrees with my worldview. I mean, you want to talk needle in a haystack. To find any girl in the Western world that isn't poisoned by feminism, poisoned by the whole, blue hair, woke mentality, anti-racist, all that. To even find one who is a Christian. I mean, it's slim to none, man. It really is. I'm okay with that. Because it's even hard for me to find friends that can tolerate my worldview and my lack of a filter and my Christianity. All of these things combined together into whatever fuckery that I am. I'm not going to try to describe myself. It just is what it is. What friends do I have other than like 2 or 3 buddies that I talk to like once every few months? And then you guys, the chat guys that I mean, even you guys don't agree with me on some of the stuff I say. I mean, none of you are orthodox. I assume none of you are monarchists. I know Ray's more of a libertarian, and I kind of clown on libertarians sometimes. I've really backed myself into a corner, so to speak, as far as that goes. But that's okay. Who needs other people? Get yourself a dog. And, I don't know, a big piece of land. I know you ain't gay, but you are a Nick. I thought you were a little bit libertarian. I mean, you're all about liberty. You're all about that there good old free speech. And, well, no, I better not go there. As far as interracial relations go, I'd say that's a very liberty-minded thing to embrace because, not even 50 years ago, there were some states that would have probably hung you for that. I kid. At least about you. I mean, obviously it's true that many different states. Well, I think it was Alabama, or was it Louisiana? One of them was like Kentucky, not Texas. The last to get rid of their miscegenation laws. And it was like in the 60s, I believe. I don't know. I'm getting way far afield here. I've been going for an hour and 5. I think I'm going to call it here before I really turn this into a dumpster fire. Shit, I ran out of things to say like 20 minutes ago. This is why I gotta get my my hardware capabilities up here so I can actually bring you fuckers on. So there's like a conversation going. I'm not just talking to a chat. And you guys ain't just staring at a picture that I made. There's a video aspect. There's multiple people on the stream. That's why this is Sixto Show V1. Because once I get those capabilities up, the show is going to change to V2. I would like to say, though, the background music is here to stay. I'll change it up from time to time, but this is a new feature that's not going anywhere. And with that, my friends, Raymond, RDF, and whoever else decides to watch this in the future, because apparently people actually watch my streams after the fact, judging from my view count. Some of them have gotten up to like 15, which is just weird. It says I have 4 views here, but only 2 of you have jumped in. It says 4 views. So unless you guys like jump out and back in, but you'd think it would know that it's like the same person from the same account. Let's look at this little question mark here. Total number of times the stream was viewed while it was live. So I guess, hey, you guys want to get my view count up, you can just jump out and back in rapidly, and I guess that's how that works. Alrighty, I'm gonna steal an exit from the faggot here because, well, it was my main topic today. Peace in the Middle East. Or at least in your hearts. Till next time.